This is Henares making your day with an article from Time magazine entitled Trump's Penchant for Chaos. And we continue to quote, "There is no way to produce a U.S. foreign policy. Realists hew to the pragmatic view of the world. Moralists are more guided by convictions. Academics identify a Hamiltonian school of thought, also Wilsonian, Jeffersonian, and Jacksonian one. But Donald Trump may be the first president who seems to just make it up on the fly. In the dog days of August, U.S. officials scrambled to brace up a global architecture that shuddered with each new pronouncement Trump appeared to have made off the cuff. In Asia, the highest-ranking U.S. military officer flew to Seoul to walk back Trump's August 8 vow, which aides confirmed he made without consulting anyone, that any future threat from Pyongyang will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen. And Joint Chief of Staff Joseph F. Dunford Jr. pointedly told South Korea's leader Moon Jae-in the crisis in the Korean Peninsula ought to be diffused through diplomatic and economic pressure. Dunford then flew on to Beijing and Tokyo to offer such assurances. Another Trump stunner landed close to home. In South America, Vice President Mike Pence was dealing with the backlash from an August 11th news conference dominated by Trump's threats to North Korea. The president was asked in passing about Venezuela, the oil-rich country, which in 2001 was the wealthiest in the continent, is in dire political and economic crisis, with food in short supply and hospitals struggling for electricity. With the government of President Nicolas Maduro grabbing more power and protests edging towards insurgency, the country is at the risk of a civil war. But so far, it proved only a threat only to its own people. We have many options for Venezuela, Trump declared. And by the way, I'm not going to rule out a military option. More about this after these messages. This is Henares making your day with an article from Time magazine entitled Trump's Penchant for Chaos. In Latin America, where neighboring countries have been uniting impressively against Maduro, the statement immediately made Washington the villain. The long history of U.S. interference and invasion in the region, lurching out of a past that previous presidents had taken pains to disavow. Since friends have to tell them the truth, I have told Vice President Pence the possibility of military intervention should not even be considered, said Colombian President Juan Manuel Santos, whose defense secretary called Trump's threat crazy. Pence said, "Trump's made it very clear we will not stand by while Venezuela collapses into dictatorship. Though there was no clear role for the U.S. military beyond unifying Venezuelan sentiment against it." Maduro called for military exercises at a lectern with a sign reading, "Trump, keep out of Latin America." Trump's comments appeared to be, as usual, a sudden burst that was not thought of or through. Riordan Roet, head of Latin American Studies at Johns Hopkins University, told the New York Times it puts the United States in the position of a big bully, not unlike the warmongering over North Korea. U.S. presidents usually respond to provocations Trump likes to produce them. In June, his surprise tweets in support of the Saudi Arabia-led campaign to isolate Qatar elevated a simmering rivalry between two U.S. allies into a full-on regional crisis in a Middle East that already has plenty of them. And his continuing battering of the Iran nuclear accord, even as he technically affirms it as the agreement requires a president to do every 6 months, gives comfort to Iranian hardliners already keenly aware of North Korea's accomplishments. On August 15th, Iranian President Hassan Rouhani felt compelled to warn that the country's nuclear program could be resumed within hours if Trump imposes threatened new sanctions. The hardliners in Iran are feeling hopeful that if the deal unravels, they won't be blamed for it. The United States will be blamed for it, says Karim Sajjadpour, an Iranian expert at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. It's the opposite of 5 years ago, when there was a bombastic Iranian president. They feel like Ahmadinejad is in Washington. Will Trump's extemporaneous approach to a complicated world one day coalesce into a new school of foreign policy? It is a question diplomats might take up once they've done rushing around extinguishing the fires that he keeps lighting. This is Larry Henares, making your day, saying good day, God bless you. Thank you very much for being with us. Till next time, hasta la bye-bye.